Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for joining me. My name is Julianne Duffy. I am checking in from a lovely icy morning in Alberta. It's been cold. It's not that cold. It could be worse. We don't have snow on the ground. So that's where I'm checking in this week is in the outside of the Calgary area. And let's get in it. So if you've joined me before, we're going to do the same thing we do each week. We're going to look at the energies of the week, and then we'll go through each day, what kind of is in store for us, and then we'll pull. Today I'm pulling from the Wisdom of Oracle cards. So we'll pull a card and see where the energy is and what is being supported. So let's get into it. I intend you had a great week. This energy, I'm going to say, is interesting because there was no big collective event per se, but I think on a whole, what I'm getting is a sense is there's a lot of people that felt some really intense energies. So it's an interesting time because I feel like there's a lot of us are going through huge personal growth. So let's imagine ourselves as we go into this week. So we're imagining ourselves here coming into October 19th to 26th. What this week bridges is we've got Cancer's nurturing waters to Virgo's analytical earth, carrying a theme of emotional renewal, transforming it into a practical order. So a lot of like, we are transforming. We're going through this emotional change, and it is going to transmute into something that's going to become more practical for us and help us on that end. The full moon, which happens on October 20th, lights up courage and new beginnings. So we're going to feel more inclined for new and all of that to go forward. The cosmic ignition point for all that's been germinating since mid-September. So we're kind of coming to this weird point where everything that we've seen before is coming up to a head. Mercury regains speed and Mars steadies in Cancer. So we're encouraging clearer communication, grounded action, and this week is to act from feeling, not from fear, and to really tend both your inner and outer homes with clarity. So that's really what we're seeing for this week. So the mantra to this week would be, my head leads, my actions align. So my spirit builds what my soul envisions. So we're going to lead with our head, but we want to have that aligned action that happens, because as we talked about, that is the energy. We're really transforming into practical order from this emotional or the energetic of the emotions that we've seen this past week. And I'm thinking it's mainly a lot of us having it on our personal side, since there wasn't any major upheaval that would affect all of us, except for the fact that we are all being pulled through this energetic alignment. So if you take lawn together, well, thank you. Let's mow the lawn together. That is true. When you take care of your lawn, it does perceive to make your property look like more. Thank you for joining me, and thank you everybody for tuning in. We're looking at the energies for the week, and we are going to pull a card. So the overall energies, we are transforming into a lot of practical order. We're really going to be starting to act from an idea of not from fear, but of inner and outer clarity and purpose. So the overall energy and what our guides would like us to consider or think about for all of those that are watching here and watching it, whether you're watching live or on the replay, is flexible. So I think that's the overall energy for this week, is to be flexible. I think that's super apparent. You know, the more flexible we can be, the easier this time is going to be to get through it. And even with myself, like, I will totally have the tendency to not want to be flexible, want to have a schedule, want to do things in a certain order. That's going to be difficult. You're going to probably find that you're hitting more walls when you really want to have what you've planned work out. Put the plans in place, have an idea, be flexible that that change might happen, right? That's going to really assist us through the energy of the week, especially since we are going into more practical order. So some of the things that maybe we thought about may not be as practical and may not align as well as we go forward. But let's continue. Let's look at each day. Let's continue with today. So if you're joining me now, what does the rest of the day have in store for us? We have the moon in Cancer for Sunday here, the 19th of October. And so it's emotional restoration, time to slow down, feel deeply. So it's a very low, stay neutral, restore, take some time. And what we're looking at is continue resting, nurturing home, body, and relationships. So talk to people that are going to help make you feel good. Home stuff is really supported. And of course, taking care of your body is very supported for today. Nurturing and reflection is highly recommended. And with the elemental overlays for Sunday, there's a lot of water. So we've got a lot of healing coming up and a lot of earth grounding that healing. So that's going to help us go forward. You know, if we can ground our healing, that's like setting that intention to reverberate and continue manifesting it out. So that's what we've got in store for today. Take time, nurture your home, your family, yourself, whatever feels like it's a little out of balance, put some energy into that. And our guidance as we continue for this beautiful Sunday. It's a little cloudy and cold here in Alberta, where I am. It's kind of central lower Alberta outside of Calgary. This beautiful gray morning. Our energy. Time for a nap. That's so appropriate. So we talked about, it's the healing, reflection, energy, grounding, you know, go and take a nap is going to be highly encouraged. You know, it's at rest. Today is very, just supporting. Take some time. Hello, Lois from Flin Flon. Wonder, how's your weather up there? She's quite far north, Flin Flon, if you've ever heard of it. And hello, besties, Grown and Vlogs. Thank you for joining me. Oh, well, thank you for subscribing. Let's mow the lawn together. I like lawns. I like gardens. Thank you so much for subscribing. And if you do enjoy this, please do like and subscribe. That does help the algorithms while we're here. Let's continue and we'll go jump into Monday. So Monday is October 20th. We now are going into the full moon in Aries. So what we're going to feel on the collective is a lot of passions being ignited, truth, action, surge forward. So maybe there's going to be something coming up that we're just going to be super passionate about and we're going to feel. We didn't really feel that this past week. I think it was a lot more emotional and growth through us personally. This is going to be feeling a little more on the collective, that there's going to be something igniting us, some kind of event is going to really push us to want to go forward, taking those positive steps and the truth. Momentum builds. So this is the starting of some momentum. Emotional truth meets direct action. So are we learning something? It's becoming more apparent what this truth is, and we're going to all start collectively pushing to that action, whatever action we want to take. So it could be that there's something we're all learning isn't good for us. Well, we're probably learning there's lots of stuff that isn't good for us. I was watching a whole thing about McDonald's and it's even worse than I thought, which, you know, so learning those things, or are we all pushing directly that we're not going to go to that restaurant or we're not going to buy that product anymore? And we're forcing that company to change what they're producing, right? To really be like, no, we're tired of you cutting our things with stuff that we shouldn't be consuming, right? To save money. I'm a little tired of that myself. And then the strongest energy for Monday is courage and initiation. So being courageous, because that energy is supported as we start. And the elemental overlays are fire. So we've got fire driving us on Monday and inspiration. So we're going to be inspired to kind of push that way. Subbing to me, that breathe within. Thank you, besties, Getting Grown and Vlogs. And you did yoga too. That's wonderful. I hope you enjoy it. I do a lot. I'm quite a mixture here. I teach yoga. That's what brought me down this path. And I use a bunch of different techniques. And I find astrology and oracle cards are just part of that process of us learning about ourselves, healing, and spiritually connecting. So it's quite a beautiful process. Okay, let's pull our card for Monday. So Monday overall, we've got a lot of drive, inspiration, courage, and initiation. And the guides want us to consider on Monday, or some actions to look at. Never-ending story. So this is interesting. This card, I actually really like this card. This one, it talks a lot about that we sometimes feel like we're stuck in this loop, like the story is just constantly repeating and repeating and it's never going to end. It's like we're trapped outside of like the ending of it. This is also telling us that we're not stuck in that, you know, it's also our perspective. So if we're feeling like that courage and inspiration, I think like the never ending story is kind of like we're seeing that this has never been ending and we're now taking that step and that courage to put that alignment in there, because this story, it's probably time to leave. That's how I read it, is this story is coming to its end. It is, even though we feel like this doesn't, you know, there's a lot of things where I feel like a lot of us are waiting for change, and the change is slower than maybe what we anticipate. Oh, don't mind my dog. There's another dog walking by. So now he's gonna freak out because that's what I'm doing. Teddy, thank you. We're good. We're good. Maybe we're good. There's, you know, because other dogs. Anyways, the idea with this is that we're coming to a time of great change. And I don't know if, you know, it's this whole thing where I have been looking for lots of changes for a very long time because I've seen things very out of balance. And I've struggled myself waiting for the time to catch up for these changes and feeling like we're kind of trapped in something that is this real change going to happen? I believe with the energy that we're really igniting on Monday, because it is about courage, it's about truth, it is about bold expressiveness and that type of stuff, is going to be that we are going to really push to that new story. That story is coming, and it is coming. Maybe it's not as dramatic as I pictured in my mind, but that is what we're going through, is this change, right? So let's jump to Tuesday. So that is the 21st, and our moon is in Taurus when we come into the 21st. So on a whole, collectively, we're very stable. We're grounded. We're feeling stable collectively, especially after the fire of Aries. Build what we started. So whatever our energies have kind of come from Monday, we're going to kind of have some more of that passion, that energy to it, but more in that grounded versus floating in the sky with our thoughts. The stability and nourishment for sure on Tuesday, especially if we are really hitting that courage, that passion. We might have felt a lot of energy go out on Monday. This is more we're grounding it and kind of balancing that out, right? And the elemental overlays for Tuesday is structure, which is our earth sign, and fire, which is motivation. So it's just continuing with what kind of came up as a theme on Monday, and then grounding this theme, and then kind of just getting that motivation to continue building or working through what we're creating. So that is Tuesdays, and let's pull for the energy and what our guides can support us with on Tuesday, and what they maybe like us to think about as we go through this stability, nourishment, the structure, and the motivation of what we're building and whatever we're coming to collectively, you know, whatever that change is. Time to go. Time to go. So this is like taking that forward steps, time to change, time to go. You know, it's like this is actually, I love this because it's got the little sparkles, like, ooh, follow the little trail. It's time to go. The door is opening. The path is here. We are stable. We're learning. And that's that fire motivation energy, is like, time to go forward. We're just going to get that nudge. So the cards are supporting us that we're getting that nudge, that motivation, that fire element going forward. It's time to go. It's time to go forward with what we're seeing changing. So as an example, like I said, we might be coming to new understanding. I use the example of fast food, right? And how bad it is. So worse than we even knew it was, let's say, if that comes up. And that we're all changing and pushing forward for better quality. And so then this is really us pushing that it's time to go. We don't want to be paying to be poisoned or paying to put things that don't make us feel good, right? So it's time to go. It's time to move forward from those things that are not good for humans and are not part of our collective evolution. And that's how I see it. Let's continue. We're on Wednesday. So Wednesday, we're at the 22nd of October already. Moon is still in Taurus, but it does start to transition into Gemini when we come midweek Wednesday. So we have a lot of communication. So communication seems to flow. So if you're finding through this weekend and the beginning of the week, it was a little bit iffy with the communication, by the time we get to Wednesday, it's flowing a lot more. Curiosity leads to understanding. This might still be related to the theme of what we've determined earlier this week, right? So maybe there is some more, as the example, we're looking at our food. We're looking at fast food. So maybe we're more curious. What is it? Because we started to learn more truth. So we're personally investigating it, and it's starting to lead us to more understanding of why certain places have been able to be maybe cheap, or maybe an understanding of why. Let's talk about shrinkflation, right? Going, oh, why is this roll of toilet paper I used to get 2 weeks out of, or a week out of, is only getting me 4 days out of it, right? That type of stuff is going to be related where we're actually investigating, and it's giving us a new understanding to what we're seeing, right? And a new understanding. Like I often come to many new understandings of things, like realizing my own personal experience that I think I wasted a lot of money buying 2-ply toilet paper or any of that, because I think it actually caused me more issues by us accidentally plugging toilets by people using it, and it's too fluffy, and having lived in a trailer and choosing to go with 1-ply. I go through less. I go through substantially less. We don't ever, well, in fairness, I'm in a trailer, so it doesn't plug, but even if I was home, I'm like, there's so much less being used. I think that's a scam that they convinced us to buy. And so I think that for myself became an understanding that this is not an elevated product for my life. It actually makes more, I always thought I was buying a better product, but then this high insight, this new understanding is not quite as good. You need multiply? I don't know. You know what? I'm saying that 1-ply is underrated, and I go through so much less, and I don't even know what to say. I know, now we're literally, our conversation's going in the toilet. That was totally by accident. But anyways, the energy is curiosity leads to understanding. So we're looking at something, we're perceiving it different, and it's going to bring us some new perspective in our own lives, right? Because each person's going to have their own. So that was my own toilet understanding. Maybe that's not yours, right? Combined view. So really what we're looking at on a whole, good for connection. So really great day, Wednesday, to connect with other people, plan, lighthearted socialization. So having some fun, getting out there, socializing is very, very highly supportive. And then we've got connection and clarity with our elemental overviews. We've got a lot of air. So that's speech, that's communication, that's, like I said, the connection, and earth, which is form. So a lot of that too is also saying what we're talking about. We get to the 5th chakra, the throat chakra. This is a huge part of our manifestation, which is also how we communicate and will help us create form. So I believe that there's a lot of that undertone too when we got through Wednesday with what we want to create and speaking it into existence. Whether we're writing it, that's also connected to the throat chakra and that communication and a form, or speaking it and telling other people what we're planning to do. Wednesday would be a really great manifestating day, and if you have a little process or a little ritual, highly supported in my opinion, because it's a great day to put out that type of energy to create what you want to do, especially with the speech and form energy of the elements. So let's pull a card here for Wednesday as well. So what the guides want us to maybe consider or look at a little bit deeper as we get into Wednesday and our communication and form. And the curiosity to determine maybe new understandings, right? Not for you. Well, that is interesting. We got the not for you. I feel like that's really pushing us back to that curiosity leads to understanding. So for, I think, a majority of people, the understanding is going to come that whatever you're learning is really not for you. And maybe you participated in it. Maybe you did go, like we were using the example of fast food. Maybe that was one of your favorite restaurants you're learning about. And you're learning it's no longer for you and that your choices are going to change. So the energy for a lot of us here on Wednesday, for you watching it, whether you're watching live or after, is really whatever you're learning, whatever leads to a new understanding, the understanding is gonna be that it's really not for you. It doesn't support you. It doesn't help you in the best way. Could be medical, could be looking for alternatives in how to heal. It could be just learning that specific toilet paper is better for you. It could be that simple, depending, right? And maybe on a collective, we're also learning that maybe it's all not for us, like all these things, like we're just deciding, none of these systems are for us. And we're just walking away, right? On the collective, it could be that big. Let's continue though, because we've got the going into the weekend. So we're going to hit Thursday. Thursday now, the moon is fully in Gemini, and we're going to have even more emotional truth surface. So maybe that understanding of what's not for us kind of brings up some emotional energy, because, you know, especially if we were using something like my 2-ply, and then I was like, man, I've wasted so much money on this, and it could be very emotional. You know, I feel it's more so on something important, like maybe realizing that you were going once a week to a restaurant that you're finding out, man, that is maybe why I haven't felt so good, because what they're putting in their food, you know, whatever we've learned from earlier this week, right? So when we get to Thursday, there's going to be some emotional truths, and I do believe it's going to be very much around whatever we're digesting and leading to that new understanding as well, because we're realizing it's not for us, right? And it will come through the words and interactions and just that greater understanding. Hello, Tyne Van Dyke. What's your opinion on South African refugees? There's too much stuff going on. My opinion of everything is, let's just focus on ourselves, because that's about all I can control, is what I can do, and put out the best energy to help heal and serve humanity, right? You know, I don't know. I don't know what the best answer for a lot of things are, because when you get to, you know, side note, when you get to a lot of geopolitical things, it can get very complex when you start putting in all the perspectives and all the little details of things. And humans, you know, I think a lot of things could be easily rectified if people wanted to rectify them. But, you know, we have to get everybody on that end. But as we go through Thursday, we're getting that emotional truth where it surfaces. We're kind of digesting whatever we learned, right? It's a really good day to note to stay calm through emotional waves. So you might feel a lot of emotional waves, which could be from whatever we're realizing, or maybe other things coming up as well. Because maybe because this energy, we're just attracting things, we might have a little bit more emotional upheaval because of Thursday's energy with the moon in Gemini. And then insight follows, though, through the release. So if we can avoid attaching to the emotions, so whether it makes us really angry or really upset or whatever, just attempting to not attach to that, we will come to an understanding where it will allow us to kind of ground and release that energy. Really great day for purification and honesty. So if you have something that you haven't cleared up, Thursday would also be a good day to really talk it out and let it go. And then the elemental overlays is air and water is highly supported on, or is the elements of Thursday. So we went from air and earth, which was speech and form, that manifestation energy. We're going into the water and cleansing words. So this is more of releasing and clearing through our speech. So maybe not necessarily as much manifestation, but more of the healing process through what we say. So that is supported on Thursday. Let's pull a card. Hello, Wish Wish. How old am I? You look beautiful. Well, thank you. I'm old. My daughter tells me I used to be stylish because I'm here at my garage to get rid of stuff that I've had in storage. And my daughter, who's now a teen, is going through my stuff. And she went to my husband and told my husband, what has happened to my mother? She used to have style, and she's taken all my clothes. It doesn't matter if I point out the fact that those clothes were just put in storage because I could not bring a walk-in closet of clothes with me when I traveled. But I guess I'm so old that my style's coming back. There you go. That's my answer to that. And I was stylish once, okay? Once long ago, as per my daughter. Okay, Thursday's energy. So just like our guidance from the compassionate guides, time to go. So we're getting it again. That time to go is still that overlapping energy. Time to let go of those things that aren't for us, right? So it's still saying we're going to be releasing those. And it does make sense because we're cleansing through words, and what we're saying is that energy. So again, more of letting go of those things we don't need, the purification, bringing in more honesty, letting go of those things that aren't of that energy, and bringing us into a higher vibration, right? Okay, Friday. So as we come into the early weekend, we've got our moon in Cancer. So we're going to get more emotions because as soon as we get into that Cancer family emotions, right? So collectively, Friday, we got a lot of comfort and care return. So we're really looking for that. We're starting to see that. Very heart-centered awareness grows. So we're looking more at how we feel and does it feel good for our, for each other and that love energy, right? So really becoming aware of that. And it's a very good nurturing day on Friday for home, family, and spiritual reflections. So it's a good day. All of those things are supported. So if you have something like any of those types of themes, great day would be Friday. We have renewal and peace is the energy. So I think we're really coming to terms. We've let go of that energy. So we really have been manifesting. We took the stuff. We're getting motivated. We start to manifest. We then are cleansing and releasing the stuff we don't need. So then by the time we get into Friday, it's really, we're renewal. We're more at peace. It's like that energy is not getting us. We've let it go and we're moving forward to what we've been manifesting and talking about and wanting to create. We do change into the water element, the elements of water and earth. So we get a lot of emotion, because we know it's Cancer, and the nurturing from the earth element. So it's a really great day to do stuff with the people you care about, right? So keep that in mind and keep it light. It would be my suggestion if you can on Friday. Let's pull a card for Friday. And what the guides like to say to everybody that watches, whether you're here now or later on. Why? We got the why card. So it's interesting because it's like, why are we doing this, right? So after the storm, the light returns. This is also like the why. Why go forward? Why do anything? There you go. The guys go, why? Because it's your family, right? So I feel like this is actually just a really good day for questioning those whys, and because it is about that comfort and that heart-centered return. So it's a really good day to really look internally on the why. Why, why do I do these for my family? What value do I provide? Why, what does it nurture me for helping people, vice versa, right? So keeping that in mind as we go through Friday. And maybe too, the topics that came up. It might come up a little bit like, why did I have to go through this week? And I feel like that's kind of the ending too, because we are going to renewal and peace. So there's a lot of that question too, like why was this so intense to take? Why are we being given things that don't make us healthy, right? And that looking forward. Like gay. Oh, looking and talking like gay. Okay. I use my hands a lot. And I am wearing stuff because I'm cleaning my garage and it's cold outside. But thanks, John. Everybody's got an opinion. Just like a butthole, eh? Maybe sometimes you shouldn't say stuff. Because no one cares. And wish. Okay, well, if you're around, that's a great question. Once we're done, I'm almost done the week. And if you do have that question, I will pull a card for you when we get to the end. I'm happy to do that. Wish. Okay, so let's continue to Saturday. So as we come into the weekend here. So the moon is still in Cancer and we go and move to Leo. So we're transitioning from Cancer to Leo on Saturday. So we're shifting from care. So Friday was very much about care. Now we're getting more of the leadership energy. And we're going to feel a little bit more confident. So there's going to be more confidence with that, because whatever we've learned, whatever we're going to manifest and we've digested, now it's kind of like we've nurtured our family, we've kind of stepped back a little bit on Friday. Now we're going to go forward with confidence with our new understanding of what we've gone through from the week. So shift from care to leadership, our confidence grows. It's a day, again, continuing with family connection, decluttering, and spiritual ceremony. So again, I'll be doing another garage sale next Saturday, and I didn't even know that. So it's very highly resonates. Do some garage sailing, clean out your house, do that stuff on the weekend. Family, my daughter's birthday's coming. We're going to spend family time. Perfect. Spiritual ceremony, great time to just meditate, do your rituals, go to mass, church, whatever it is that you need to do, and whatever resonates with you at your soul level. Now, the strongest element is purpose and leadership for Saturday. And we get a little bit more of the fire element, so courage, and then air still is there with that clarity. So we're getting a little more courageous and a little more clarity on where we want to go and what is actually our theme in our life at that point, because all of us are going through different things in our lives at this moment, right? So it'll be more clarity on our own themes. And then our card for Saturday. So our message for Saturday. Buy the book. Buy the book. This one's funny because this one, depending on what your reality is, it can be supporting you following things through the procedure, but it also can be supporting you to not necessarily be following it to the T. That sometimes buy the book is not necessarily the best way. So it's like following the right parts of the book, but knowing where to deviate, right? So here, like, I love this one because it's got the elephants, right? So you got they're all leading each other. They're following the way to where we're probably going for water, right? Because they're in the desert. So they're doing it by the book to make sure they get there. So when we come through Saturday, whatever you're doing, so if you're doing the decluttering, you're doing, we talked about spiritual ceremony, family connections, keep them normal. Keep them like how you would normally do them, right? So if you're doing a garage sale, continue doing that process, right? So keep things in that same line. Know where you can have the openings to change a little bit and make some alternatives, I guess, that aren't necessarily in the book, but you don't want to fight the book. Like, I'm not going to redefine how to do a garage sale, right? I'm going to put the signs up. I'm going to promote it, where I can. I guess traditionally it would be putting signs everywhere, where now it's more online and letting people know. And now it is an interesting thing because it is by the book, but it is changing. What we're finding with the garage sales, our own experience, is that we're more successful because we're very rural. We're out in the middle of farmland. So getting people to physically come to our garage sale, there'll be a few people that trickle by, but if you want to sell stuff, you're not going to have high foot traffic. So online is really our best way, is online, post those things, get them sold, right? So it's kind of doing that same base of putting it by the book, like getting the right process down that is going to help you do what you need to do on Saturday. That's essentially what is supported. Now, when we meet again on Sunday, so next Sunday, when we'll do the review and the look for the week ahead, which will probably be in my truck again, because I'll be here, because I'm going to go right to my garage sale, help my husband, because we got lots of cleaning to do today. I'll be here again. So if you're looking for anything, feel free to follow us. You can find me on Facebook, Julianne Duffy, and then my marketplace, and everything's going up. But if you're too far from Alberta, it may not be worth the shipping. And or if I can't really send it across the States. There's tariffs now for everything. But let's go to Sunday. Moon is now in Leo, and we're going to have a lot of charisma. So you're going to feel like really charismatic. People are really in their vibe, joy, creative expression, and creative self-expression will flourish. So it's a very good day to kind of step into who you are and what you want to create. Confidence builds. That's highly supported on Sunday. It's time to really express ourselves with vision and gratitude. So we're gonna get to be able to express ourselves. We're gonna feel confident about who we are. That energy is highly supported. So if you need to do anything, it's a very good day to do it, especially if you're gonna do it in a public eye. Conveniently, I'll be coming live next Sunday, so maybe I'll feel more confident. Same thing. If you want to do that, it's a great day to be supported for that. And then the strongest energy for Sunday is expression and creative joy. And we've got a lot of element of fire. So we got a lot of vitality when we come to Sunday. It's that vitality, that new, that fresh, that expression is so supported on Sunday. And we've got earth, which is manifestation. So again, that manifestation energy, whatever we were talking about midweek, that Wednesday, that energy on Wednesday, starts to maneuver, because we've been talking, using that throat chakra. By the time we get to Sunday, it is going to be amplified, because it's actually really about manifesting and getting into that beautiful energy, that young, vitality energy. So Sunday's going to be a great day. So when we meet again, that'll be the energy. And I highly recommend, if there is some kind of creative project you want to work on, the weekend is going to be better, especially Sunday. Let's pull one more card for Sunday. And then if you have any questions, I'm happy to pull some cards for you. let's look here. What does Sunday have for us? Time to go. It's time to go forward. I'm pulling the same cards. Time to go. Time to go forward. Vitality. This is that manifestation. What do you want to create? All highly aligned on Sunday. And then we'll continue when we meet again next Sunday for the week forward. So just, it's time to go. It's time to start going forward. It's time to start making those steps to what you want to manifest, create in a creative area. It doesn't even have to be that creative. Whatever it is for you and your calling. So to summarize up the week again, I want you to really imagine like how your week is going to pull through. How your week's going to pull through is you're going to start here where we're healing this. Today's healing, go relax, enjoy yourself, go around, get out there. We get to Monday, we're now coming through like a very interesting realization, a lot of courage and initiation into some new information, and it's going to really start to drive us through the week. And then imagine yourself when you get to Tuesday that you're stable and feeling nourished, you're grounding, whatever you learned, you're starting to kind of digest it. And then by the time you get to Wednesday, it's really that connection and clarity of how that is affecting you, whatever that scenario is. We used fast food as an example earlier. And then when we get into Thursday, you can see yourself having the emotional truth. So things that, oh my gosh, for these last 10 years, I've overpaid for this, or this last 15 years, I've gone once a week to this place. And now I'm finding out all that was poison, or whatever it was, right? That you're coming to this realization is going to really surface. And that's also the emotional waves we'll feel. So imagine yourself and kind of prepare that if you're feeling that, again, with these energies, you might feel them a little bit more on Wednesday, going into Thursday, you might still feel them a little bit into Friday, depending on your charts. But that is going to be what you're going to kind of go through as you go through Thursday. Friday, we're going to feel renewal, peace. We're going to start to connect with our family. Heart center growth continues. And then it's seeing yourself into the weekend where you're really just confident. You're confident, you're going forward, you're connecting with everybody that you need to, because that's really what it is family, connections, all that stuff as we go into Saturday and Sunday. So that's kind of, if you imagine your week, that's how the energy is going to flow. Now, before I get into the end of this, which I thank you for joining me, do please subscribe or like. Both will help the algorithms. But if you do subscribe, you will get notified when I go live. And I will go live again next Sunday. I go and I come here live every Sunday and do the chart reading. If you are interested, what I do is a combination of Vedic as well as Western astrology with numerology, human design, and even astrocartology. I might be saying that wrong, but that's where your location is. And we look at all of the energies in all those different formats to give you a very accurate energetic reading to your life. So what you might want to know. So if there's any clarification for this week or something coming up, it's a really great way to get an idea of what is supported and where the energy is flowing in your life. So if you are interested, go to my website. It's breathewithinyoga.com. And you can book yourself a session, and I'm happy to do a personalized reading for you. I also do personalized card readings, but I'm going to do one now, and you can always check that out on my website as well if that's something you'd like, if you want a more in-depth. But I'm going to pull for Wish Wish, because Wish Wish did ask a question about, I don't know who that is, Gurjot. I'm just gonna say G and J, and if the feeling is pure, and I will pull for you on that. Farts. Well, you know what? You missed all the conversation, Sauron, about toilet paper. If that's what you're talking about, we were talking about toilet paper and about how 2-ply might be the biggest scam in my belief. And that you're plugging your toilet, you're using too much, and you're paying too much. Get the 1-ply, you're going to use less, you're not going to plug anything, and you're going to be like, why did I use 2-ply? I'm just saying. It's just your butthole. that was my comment. I might be feeling weird today. Okay, let's pull for a Wish Wish. Okay, perfect. So we're going to find out if a G has the pure feelings for J. I'm going to do G and J for you, Wish. So let's look at her question. I'm just going to put out the intention to what the guides have for your question here, Wish. Between worlds. So what it sounds like is that yes and no. So it's not really clear. So I'm going to say that G's, like it feels like G's feelings are not clear on their end. They're wish-washy, so they don't even really know. So you're kind of like, this is probably a very appropriate question because it is between worlds. It's the old way of them thinking they haven't quite got into the new one. Like this one's actually great because you can see like this is the black and white. This is like how it used to be. This is the old way. This is walking into the new, going to the colored version of it, right? And but we're not quite there. So I would take it, especially with the in-between, because you're looking for the pure feelings. I'm like, between, hasn't made a commitment, doesn't even really know how they feel, how that person feels. They're not committed either way. That's how I would take this, is they haven't really made the decision themselves. So it's a hard read because they have not decided where they want to go on that. So that is what I'm getting for you. I do intend that will help, or at least give you a little clarity that there's not really a good clear answer right now because they're personally haven't made a decision and don't know how they feel is what comes up from that. Before I jump off for today to go hardcore into cleaning and purging more stuff, I'm going to say don't ever buy stuff, because when you have to get rid of it, or you do die and you leave it for somebody to deal with, it is the worst thing you can do to yourself or to other people is to have stuff. I'm just believing this. I'm believing that after all these years, my joke from going through my garage, I think I found all of certain type of item, right? Okay, sweet. It's a little excessive. Deal with it. Then I open another box. And my comment is, and wait, there's more. Because there's more. And I'm like, this is insanity. And it's interesting perspective, not being near my stuff for over a year and a half, not being in it, and then going through my stuff and going, how much I don't need it. I don't even remember half the stuff I have. Like most of the stuff I don't even remember I have. And then going, wow, we've consumed too much when that is how my life works. Well, thank you, Wish. Like I said, I'm old. I'm okay, maybe not that old, but I'm older. I'm not young. I'm not a young chicken. It's not polite to ask age. I'll be like 22. Let's go. I'm 22. There you go. I'm 22. On that note, as I leave being 22 right now to go clean my 20 years of items. So I've been collecting stuff since I've been 2, sitting in my garage here. My dogs are done. Gotta take them for a walk. Thank you for joining me. Do subscribe so you can find out when I go live again. Biddy, I know, we hear you. He just wanted to say goodbye. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. Go watch this to go back and check out how the week flows if there is anything. And if you do want your own personalized readings, as I mentioned, check out my website. I am happy to do them. And if you do have questions, come and join us on the live. And then if you stay to the end, like Wish, I will pull a card for you next week as well. Have a beautiful day. Oh, my husband's just showing me more stuff that we have to deal with. That's really sad. Okay, we'll see you later. Bye.